The next thing to look at here is how do we edit this, right? So we do have a bunch of code for editing, but we don't have a click listener on. And yeah, let's do something. One, we'll employ a very old type of way of working with this, and we'll maybe use a prompt to get in the value that we need edited, right? In other cases, you maybe use plugins like inline editing that feel natural, whereby when you click the edit item, you have something show up here, right? Like some editable part, which we won't do right now. So we'll have that there. Let's confirm that there's a class on edit. So let's add a class called edit, and yeah, let's carry on. So we prevent the default, and let us take a look. One, we may need to do this as well, because we want to also edit the data in the page, right? The ID won't change much, but we might use it for something because we do need to identify. So for here, we can just do self.parent data, and then we'll get the items ID, right? And yeah, let's prompt the user for a new name, perhaps, right? So we'll prompt the user. Maybe with a current name, then we'll add the current name of this item, which you can see we have no way of knowing, but we could use something like self.text to see what it looks like, right? So for now, let's comment this out and let's log self.text and see what happens when we do that. We basically want to get the text of the list item, but it might look a bit weird. Oranges, click edit. Yeah, actually it's decent. It does sense the text of the button itself. So let's go in and say siblings, and I wonder how we might get the first sibling. Let's get the first siblings text. There we are. And then when we refresh and add oranges, click edit. Yeah, we still get delete, so that doesn't seem to help us. Another thing we could do is we could hide the name the way we've hidden the data item behind here. So let's hide the name instead here, and yeah, that might help us. We're using HTML5 attributes to hide a bunch of stuff. Very handy stuff here. And that's the just the way we got the ID, we can also get the name of the item, right? Name of the item, self.parent data item dash name, and when we log the name, it will tell us the name. And we'll add oranges, we'll add it. That's the name getting stored. Right, now in this prompt here, let's call this new name so that it doesn't affect this other name here. And then we'll pass in the old name or the current name. Then say something like, what new name do you want? For your item, of course, not for you, but your item. So when we refresh our page and add oranges, click that. Current name oranges, what new name do you want? We can provide a new name and that gets sent. as part of the payload, right? And we definitely need to make sure that new name is not empty before we do this, right? And when not empty, we shall be sending something with a method called put, because that's what our edit does. So when we go in up.js and we look at our editing of items happens to be done using put, I believe. Let me just confirm. Post item. Okay, it wasn't included in this code, but we'll do that quick. It will on occasion kind of look like the delete, so we'll maybe copy some of the code there, and we'll change this to a put, right? Every time we find something, we break out of it, we kind of store it around here. So instead of splicing, we shall edit this a bit. Let's get the item itself, and the item is in the item store under items and with an index of index. And when we get that here, we are going to first of all, we need to also extract the body content, pretty much like the way we did posts. And if we to look at posts, we would need something like that, right? So we shall go in here and get the item name, and that's what we shall have here, okay? Because that is being sent as one of the arguments. And when we go in here, we'll go into the name and we'll change it like that. And finally, we'll send back a response, res.json of item. And let's get rid of this splice. Right. Bit cross, but at least it does something for us. We'll shortly test it. Now let's head over back to our other app.js from the public domain, and let's send something. So following the same .ajax way of doing things, we'll have method, we'll call it edit, and URL will be items plus ID. Okay, and then it has data that we shall store as the name, which happens to be the new name that we get. Right, and finally we'll have .done. What happens when it's done? For now, we log the data just to see, something could happen, and we might need to do a little bit of debugging, but yeah. So what gives? So let's refresh. Let's add a bunch of items, oranges. Let's edit. Let's say I don't want oranges, but I want oranges. I want big oranges. Okay, right. So it does not know this method edit, but what it does know is the put method, right? My bad here. Put, and let's confirm that in our app.js it's also called a put. Right, let's head over back here to the public one and let's refresh. Let's add oranges. Let's click edit. Let's add big oranges. Let's click OK, and that's it. So errors are amazing. They help us understand what's going on. And let's click this error and see what happens. Okay, so we get a 500 error. Why? So we sent a method called put, and we are sending form data. But the way we're sending form data is it's in an unserialized way. So let's look at the code here and see. After a bit of debugging of video, I noticed that, again, after copying, pasting, and forgetting that our request here is actually called REQ, I had to do that again. So let's go back to REQ, and yeah, hopefully that should fix that. So let's refresh and let's get rid of something I had added as well right here. So right, refresh, edit, big oranges. All right, so it works. So now we have big oranges here, and that is data that's being sent back to us. Okay, big oranges, same ID as 4, and yeah. Let's get rid of this name here on the top, and let's also have like the name being put back into itself, pretty much like before, right? So we go in here, dot parent, and in hindsight, when you look at this, we kind of want to use the dot text method. But what happens with dot text? It wipes out existing things, including the anchor tag, which we have on the delete and edit if we just do dot text. So what we shall do is we shall go ahead and wrap this little baby here in a span, and let's call it span. Let's give it a class or an ID, or let's see, what would be so unique? I reckon an ID would be so unique. So let's have that, and we'll add data.id again. And you notice there's a bit of duplication, which we should kind of get rid of, right? So we add those here, and let's see, let's also close it, right? And then let's add that there. So in effect, what this will be doing is when we add oranges and then go and look at the oranges, we shall have the orange inside of a span, right? Although the span takes everything, so we still need to close it much earlier. Let's go back here. Right, we are not closing the span yet, so we'll close it from this point here. Span. Okay, and when we refresh and add oranges again, and then when we visit here, we'll have an orange in a span that we can then like play with and remove. So back here, and we shall see whether we even need to have this self attribute here. So back here we have ID. So what we shall do is we shall get the span with an ID of ID, and we shall just swap out the data with a new name, and take a look at what that will do. When we save, refresh, add oranges, say big oranges, no swapping is occurring, so we need to figure out why it's not occurring. For starters, we could log and see if span does exist. Okay, so let's refresh. Let's add oranges. And because this is under edit, it should be, yeah. So for some reason our span is not being updated, so we're going to look into that and see why. DFS, right? So it's not being seen. I wonder why. #4 not being seen. Perhaps it could be the naming convention where your IDs can be numbers. So let's see, item dash. So we could prefix them with the word item dash. And let's see, let's refresh. Add oranges, edit, some random gibberish. Okay. And when we try this, span item -4 text says nothing. So this is a little bit of a dilemma